everyone, it's Andrea and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. When Moses went up to the mountain on that first occasion, and God gave him the assignment, and God let him know that he was the deliverer. He was the one who was going to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. Moses came up with every excuse, every reason as to why he was not qualified in order to complete that task. But for every reason that he gave, God was able to counter that. When he talked about his stuttering problem, God said, okay, yes, you stutter, but I'm going to let Aaron go with you in order to be your spokesperson. When he said, well, they may not believe me, he was like, yes, they may not believe you, but I have some things in place that is going to convince people that I am God. So for everything that Moses said, and for every excuse that Moses gave, God was able to counteract that and to let him know that he had everything under control, that with his help, he was going to be able to accomplish the task. So my word to you is today is, if God has given you an assignment, you should know that God has also given you the ability and has given you the tools in order to make whatever he wants to have happen. We don't have to fear that God is giving us something to do and then just dropping us off in the middle of the ocean and is not giving us the ability to get what we need done. God would never just leave us to our own devices. If God has an assignment for you, he's also given you the tools and the whereabouts and the know-all in order to get it done. God does not give us an assignment and then walk away. God gives us an assignment and then he leads us into that. He walks with us. He gives us step-by-step instructions in order to get that task done. And so I encourage you today, don't come up with reasons on why you can't. Thank God, knowing that if he's trusted you with an assignment, that means he has given you all of the abilities and all of the tools needed in order to get that assignment done. So let's not go back and forth with God. God, I can't because. God, I don't want to because. God, I don't have the ability. I don't have the education. I don't have this mindset. I don't have the skill set. I don't have the voice. I don't have the words. Let's stop arguing with God, because first of all, God's always going to win. Let's know that. But second of all, we also have to be very much aware that if God is calling us to something, if God desires for us to do something, he also has given us the tool chest in order to get it done. And so we may not have the degree, but God is giving us the wisdom in order to get it done. Let's think about Solomon for a minute. Solomon was young when he was called into being the king. He didn't know anything about being a king. He was a young man, and he knew that. But in saying that, when God asked him, okay, what can I do for you? How can I show myself as God to you? Solomon said, look, God, I don't know what to do. I don't have the wisdom. I am young. God, give me wisdom. He knew that if God called him to be king, that God was going to help him lead those people. So what did God do? God honored his prayer. God honored his request and gave him wisdom. So he was the wisest king ever to be found. And probably to this day, the wisest king that has ever stepped forth. But he trusted God, that if God called him into a place of leadership, that God was going to give him what he needed in order to lead. And so let's have the mindset of Solomon over the mindset of Moses. Let's not have all the excuses and all the reasons why we can't, but let's be reminded that if God called us to something like Solomon, he knew that God would give him what he needed in order to get the task done. God will do the same for us. If God called you, if God called me to do something, he is going to give us all the resources that we need in order to get it done. And the reason why he's going to do that is because it's about his name. It is about God. It's less about us. We are the vessel, but it's about God. So if God is going to get the glory out of something that he's called us into, then he has to give us the tools and the abilities in order to get it done. And it's that simple. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to come up with reasons why God shouldn't have called us. Don't you think God knows what qualifications that we have? Don't you think God knows what we can and cannot do? Don't you think God knows what we may need in order to get something done? And so if God is calling us, if God is trusting us with an assignment, we can know that, okay, God, if you are trusting me to do this, then you must have a way in order for me to do it. And God, if you are trusting me, I'm honored, God. And we have to look at it like that. God, I am honored that you think enough of me in order to trust me with an assignment that is so important to you. And I am going to do everything within my ability to hear from you, to receive from you, so that the assignment that you want accomplished gets done. I encourage you today, trust God in the assignment. Don't run away. Don't come up with excuses. Don't try to finagle your way out of something. Know that whatever God is calling you to, he is going to equip you in order to get it done. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we will see you next time on Talks in the Car.